The Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom Show. Live with play-by-play voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. It's brought to you by your Midwest Ford Dealers. Visit Ford at yourMidwestFordDealers.com. You're listening to exclusive coverage of Chiefs football. Now, here's the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus.
Good evening, everybody, and the doors are open to the Chiefs Kingdom brought to you by your Midwest Ford Dealers tonight. We're at the fabulous location, Dave & Buster's, in the Legends near the Kansas Speedway. We have over 175 people here tonight. It is an all-time Chiefs Kingdom crowd. And thanks to one and all for being here this evening. This just in. Chiefs 17-16 winners over the Houston Texans. The Chiefs are 7-0. Let me say that again. The Chiefs are 7-0. There is only one team remaining that's undefeated in the National Football League, the Kansas City Chiefs. And a big shout out to all of our special guests tonight. The Metcalf Bank folks are here with the special suite that we have built here right in front of our stage here at Dave & Buster's in the Speedway. Also, we've got our great regulars here tonight. The Red Coaters are here. The Red Hots are here. Reed's Redheads are here. The Wolverines sitting at the cool kids table tonight because the geeks are the cool kids table in the lunchroom. Snowstorm Sandy here tonight, the Queen of Hearts. Also, Riri Rah-Rah's here tonight. Weird Wolf and Weird Cub. Autograph Geek is here tonight. Sling Blade Geek is here. The famous Arrow Man. You see his billboards all over Kansas City now. He has become larger than life. And also Cindy Lou Who is here this evening. Casey Chef is here with his posse, and he's got his crew together here. The Lake Lotawana Lake Rats are here. Big Daddy Lake Rat, the Princess Lake Rat. And they have come on their bus all the way from Lake Lotawana all the way here to the Legends area. Big Chief Eric, one of our special personalities, is here tonight as well. The Irish Brigade is here, featuring the McGowan clan, some of the most courageous people that I know and loyal folks that I know. Also here tonight, another guy that's one of the most courageous guys that I know, came all the way from Wichita tonight for the show. He's got his own story of courage, but Bruce Harris is here tonight, so you can ask him about his story, but fabulous that he is here tonight. All right, yesterday the Chiefs get this done. 5 sacks against the Houston Texans. Those were all huge. Absolutely. We're going to talk about this offense and what it got done yesterday. When I watched the tape, I was amazed because there were 7 third-down conversions, and every one of those were huge. Absolutely. And for this football team now to be the NFL's top defense and also play complimentary football for 7 straight fourth quarters, the Chiefs were able to put the hammer down, baby. You've got it. It was an outstanding performance. And again, the Chiefs' record, just in case you forgot, the Chiefs are 7-0. As is our tradition, we have with us tonight the Book of Sealed Signatures, found in an archaeological dig, signed by over 200 Chiefs fans, sealed on that night when it appeared it was the darkest of all times in Chiefs history. This will be opened only when the Chiefs win a postseason game, and that will be a fantastic night. Again, we're at Dave & Buster's, and they want me to tell you that it's the ultimate sports bar to watch football every Sunday. $3.50 for 22-ounce Bud Light drafts, and also $5 appetizer specials. There is also a guy that I want to introduce to you tonight before we talk with Coach Andy Reid, and I know you're getting lined up to get Justin Houston's autograph. And by the way, our special guest tonight, Beast Alert, Justin Houston is here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, at Dave & Buster's. We're going to talk to him later in the show, but there's a young man that I want you to meet. Come up here, Alan, because he worked his 500th game yesterday. He is our equipment manager, and he is unbelievable. The NFL's best. You're going to hear from him later, and I'll ask Andy about him. But he is one amazing, hardworking person. Let's get you over here in the cameras now that we're multimedia. So, Alan Wright, ladies and gentlemen, the Chiefs equipment manager. Give him a big cheer. We'll hear from him later on in the show. Anyway, Justin Houston, our guest tonight, but when we come back, we will go live to the offices of Andy Reid and check in with the Chiefs head coach. Again, this is the Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom Show, live from Dave & Buster's at the Legends. We'll be back after this on the Chiefs Fox Football Radio Network.
Smoothing out the rough.
Into the end zone, touchdown, Kansas City. It looked like a busted play. Alex Smith takes the busted play and gets his 5th rushing touchdown of his NFL career.
That was the end of an outstanding drive by the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom Show here at Dave & Buster's tonight in the Legends, Kansas Speedway area. Again, they want me to remind you that every Sunday they got $3.50, 22-ounce Bud Light drafts, and also $5 appetizer specials. So a big night tonight. Now we're told over 200 people here this evening, so please be courteous of one another and enjoy this Kansas City Chiefs start. The Chiefs, in case you've forgotten, their record is now 7-0. And please join me in welcoming live from his desk at One Arrowhead Drive, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid.
Thank you.
Coach, it is off the chain here. People are excited, and congratulations on getting the win yesterday. And I'm going to take a different tact. Everybody's talking about the defensive effort. We'll get to that in a second. But when I watched the tape today, I've got to apologize to you and everybody else in the Chiefs Kingdom because I underappreciated what you were able to do in converting 47% on third downs. But, Andy, these were huge third downs and the third down conversions. What about your ability yesterday to get impactful plays when you needed them the most?
Well, there were some that were very important. I think Dwayne Bowe had 3 of them, and then Deuce had probably the biggest one. That was the one that was third and forever, and he was able to pick it up off of a quick screen there.
Well, let me just kind of go through these and just kind of categorize them. But the first touchdown drive, the thing was about ready to stall. On 3rd and 9, you found Bowe. It looked like the Texans switched up and went to a zone, and you got him for 21 yards. What about that play and able to convert there?
Well, listen, Dwayne had a heck of a game, and he was targeted, I think, 9 times and had 5 catches. Probably could have targeted him a few more the second half and gotten him a few more catches. But he was a presence out there, and that was a big third down there that we were able to convert and then continue the drive and get a touchdown out of it.
Then you get a 98.5-yard drive, officially 97, but a false start started it. And people now have got to realize you have had 2 98-yard drives in the first 7 weeks of the season because you had one earlier this season. But I want to ask you there, you had a 3rd and 4, you're backed up at your own 9. Bowe again for 16. 3rd and 7, you find Avery for 11 on a crossing pattern. Then 3rd and 1, I got to ask you about the touchdown. I called it a broken play. Some were saying, no, that was by design. Help me out.
Well, listen, I give Eric Bieniemy and Andy Heck credit on that play. They had everybody going in one direction. Alex was faking to a ghost, and we scored. That's not bad, right?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I got to ask you this, though, Andy, because necessity sometimes is the mother of invention, and I see those quarterback follow plays in the red zone at the high school and college level. Did you pick up something here maybe you put into the playbook?
Well, you saw Reed take off and just follow 25. People have a tendency to follow him. You know, it's he's a pretty popular guy on Sundays, and guys follow him there. But we're going to have number 50 there, Houston, in the backfield on that one. He decided not to come in, so we faked to him anyways.
Well, he's begging tonight to get the football at some point, so we'll see how it goes. But seriously, when I watched that play, it only worked to me because 76, Brandon Albert, on the left side of that offensive line, Jeff Allen, and then 42, Sherman, was able to hold the line of scrimmage, so Alex, when he's faking to the ghost, didn't have Texans hanging all over him. What about your offensive line yesterday? And I kind of saw them play a little bit with an edge, and it seemed positive to me. What about that play, those guys, but then some other times where all 5 guys kind of took turns of kind of getting a little nasty?
Yeah, well, they did. I mean, this was a big boy game where the big fellas were going to have to play on both sides of the ball, and they did that. The offensive line, I thought, played well. They were able to put together almost 100 more yards than anybody else had against that defense, and a lot of that was in the run game, and a portion of it was in the pass game. We were about 50-50 in this game here, so it all starts up front. And I thought those guys handled themselves very well.
You've played some good fronts. I love Dallas's front. Tennessee's strong. But this Houston front, how good are these guys?
Well, they're very good. They're you've got the reigning MVP of defensive MVP of the National Football League there, and so he's a presence, and then they've built around that. 94 is not too bad either. He's a heck of an inside rusher, and listen, they've got good players. So our guys stepped up, and I thought they played well.
And a couple other big situations here. I just was marveled here because after the 14-10, or you have a 14-10 lead, there's a fumble, short field, but you hold them to a field goal. I'll get to the defense in a second. Then you're able to come back and get your own field goal, and Alex had a 23-yard scramble on a play and then also a 15-yard penalty. That was on a 3rd and 9. On that play specifically, how did it break down, and what about Alex's ability to ad-lib?
Well, it was great. We had a little option route with Dexter there, and he went in and kind of worked the guy, and then really pulled the defense out of alignment there, and Alex saw a hole and took off and ran it and did a nice job with it. So they had nobody that was responsible for him in that defense and that coverage. So he took full advantage of it and looked over his shoulder, looked behind himself as he was running full speed, and then got down, and there was a penalty attached to it on top of that. So it was a nice job by him.
So many critical plays you alluded to on Double Deuce getting. Now you're going to be given seminars on 3rd and 22 play calls to get 43 yards on a wide receiver screen. That was kind of crafty. But you talk about Dwayne Bowe. I saw him make an outstanding block. What about picking up 43 yards on 3rd and 22?
Yeah, you don't have a lot of calls for those, and you surely don't want to be in those too often. Dwayne actually knocked 2 guys down, so it was a productive play. And then if you can get Deuce the ball out in the space there, that's a beautiful thing. So we were able to do that, and he made the rest happen.
Got to ask you a challenge a Fasano touchdown. We, of course, thought he was in, and I'm totally unbiased, on this. So, but it looked like he was in. You lose the challenge. You don't score there, and not able to score in 4th and 1. What about that sequence?
Well, listen, we worked hard to get there. I'm with you. I obviously, or I wouldn't have challenged it. Thought we were in, and I wish they had one more camera, and they might have seen that we were in, or camera angle, that is. And anyway, so we worked hard to get down there, and I want to make sure we got points. And we've got an aggressive mentality on the offensive side, and I think everybody was in on it, and we let an opportunity slide there. I probably could have put the guys in a little better position there on that last one, but listen, that's the way we roll, and the next time we'll make sure we get in.
Well, let's talk about the defense. We've waited this long, but people have been chatting about them. The fact that those guys just remind kind of the Muhammad Ali defense. They hit you with body blows, and then they go for the knockout in the later rounds. Your defense yesterday. Well, first of all, let me start with asking about Case Keenum. I thought Tom Brady somehow slipped into a Texan uniform. What about the way that kid played? He looked like he was back in Abilene playing at Wiley High School.
No, he did a nice job. I thought he was very poised, and then I thought, he hit a steamroller there as it went into the 4th quarter. Our defense really kicked it up a notch and really played faster than what they did in the 1st quarter, and that's a tribute to them. The guys I thought played well. I thought Bob had a nice game plan for them. And the defensive coaches did a nice job. So I think it's tribute to that whole unit right there. They all work together and trust each other. Coaches, players, coaches, coach. So it's I thought anytime you can start fast and finish faster, that's a good thing.
Coach, it looked like Case, and this is a compliment to him, made you go, or Bob go, to page 5 and page 6. You dialed up some pretty interesting stuff against him, but how much did that kid and his performance early force you to go to some things maybe you weren't thinking you needed against the guy?
Well, listen, Bob made some adjustments at halftime, so that's and you saw that. And then the guys tuned it up. Anytime you put 50 and 91 on the same side and you're bringing both of them, that's a challenge for an offense. And those two work so well together, and they're always complimenting each other. And most of all, they like hitting the quarterback at the same time. They kind of get a thrill out of that. So you've got half of that tandem right there, and you better be careful because he doesn't like redheads either.
Well, as good as you were offensively on 3rd down with those giant plays, and I want to change fantasy football to give bonus points to forgotten big plays, because offensively you had them yesterday, but you forced them to 0 for 6 and 3rd down in the second half after they had 4 of 6 in the first half. And that was a great sign. Now, I know one of the things you've done best is keep these guys focused, all of us focused. Now you get ready for the Cleveland Browns. What do you see in Rod's team, and what do you have to do against them?
Well, I'll tell you what, they've done a very nice job of putting together a good football team. I mentioned in my presser today that Joe Banner is the new president there, and they've got new ownership, and I think he's done a great job not only hiring a phenomenal head coach, but also two very good coordinators. Well, really three good coordinators. Our special teams coach had been there, but he's a local kid actually from right here. So, they've got three coordinators there that are tremendous. So, our guys will see when you put on the tape doesn't lie. You're going to see a good football team, and their defense is exceptional. Their offense, they're banged up at the quarterback position, but they came back, and now the original starter, is now back in, and the kid that ended up being the starter hurt his knee, but they're back to Wheaton, and they're effective. So our guys have really got to play now and play well. And the thing I always say with this, Mitch, is you can eliminate all the nonsense if you just say respect your opponent, study your opponent, and then get yourself right. And that's the most important thing. And then you eliminate all the records and stats and all that stuff, and you prepare and you go through the process every week, and then you don't get caught up in all the other hype and nonsense that goes on.
Well, it's been very apparent you have done that with this football team. Before we let you go and go back to work tonight on the Browns, there is a guy that I wanted to be here as a special guest because I know that you had him in the locker room yesterday to make a special announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Wright is here tonight. Yesterday he worked his 500th game. He is the equipment manager of the Kansas City Chiefs. He is one of the hardest working humans in the Chiefs kingdom, if not the entire planet. Andy, you've been in football your whole life. What about a guy like Alan Wright, and what does he mean to this entire kingdom and building a winning program?
Well, in a simple form, he keeps us dressed. I mean, that's a pretty good thing. We all rely on him, and as an equipment man, everybody's got their hand out right for you, and you've got to be wired right to handle that, and nobody's wired right more than him. No pun intended. And the hair. How about the hair? How about the hair?
Well, he went real crazy tonight. I mean,
the hair's perfect. You make sure you keep all the girls away from him. He's like a middle-aged Elvis. Just keep all the girls away.
Well, his wife's here tonight, so she's the closest to him. She's making sure.
She's a sweetheart, too. Those two have been together since I think they were in junior high school. So, she's kept him in good shape.
Yes, she has. And speaking of good shape, you've kept him in good shape. Your practices are high motor, man. Those are full throttle, and he has to place the ball on every play. How many miles does he run a day?
He's lost he'll tell you this. He's lost 25 pounds, I think he said, since we first got here, which is amazing. He hustles now.
Well, thanks for being with us tonight, Andy. We got one of your outside linebackers here tonight, some guy named Justin Houston. He's going to join us a little bit later. But we appreciate, man, you and what you've done in 10 months to transform the Chiefs Kingdom from the worst team in the NFL to the only undefeated team right now in the NFL. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Andy Reid. Coach, thanks for being with us tonight.
All right, Mitch. You tell those redheads I said hello, too.
They're right here, right in the front row, Reid's redheads. Thank you, Coach. When we come back, we will introduce you to Alan Wright. And Beast Alert, because Justin Houston is in the house here at Dave & Buster's at the Legends of the Kansas Speedway and our Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom Show. We'll be back with number 50 with his 10 sacks and a special presentation. After we come back after this, you're listening to exclusive coverage of Chiefs football.
takes the snap. Here comes another blitz, and Keenum's hit. He fumbles the ball. The ball's loose and covered up by the Texans at the 23-yard line. Justin Houston explodes into the chest of Case Keenum and forces the fumble, but the Texans avert disaster.
Yeah, but Justin Houston and Tamba Hali team up on that sack. That's not a good sign if you're Brandon Wheaton, the Cleveland Browns quarterback, to see 50 and 91 coming at you at the same time. Welcome back. Over 200 people are here tonight at our Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom show here at Dave and Buster's at the Legends near the Kansas Speedway. Again, they've got every Sunday specials, $3.50 22-ounce Bud Light drafts and $5 appetizers. Now, before I introduce you to the man who has the best sack guy in the National Football League, we do want to make a special presentation tonight. You know, we're multimedia because you can see us on the Time Warner Sports Channel. And, of course, we're out on over 70 stations in 7 states. A young man I want to come up here tonight. I mentioned him during the interview with Andy Reid, but you need to acknowledge this young man because for over 3 decades he has worked his tail off for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is the Chiefs equipment manager. Nobody works harder. Nobody's more passionate. Sugar Creek, Missouri is his hometown. But he is, I wanted to acknowledge him tonight. Andy Reid had him do the breakdown for the team after the game yesterday. He is really one of the most respected humans among our players for 3 decades. Give a Chiefs Kingdom salute to one of the hidden heroes, Alan Wright.
Thank you.
500 games.
When you say it like that, I agree. But it just seems like it was just a few years ago. But it's gone by so fast. And, you know, every year the way this thing works, it goes by in segments. You know, you got the off-season program and then training camp and the season. And next thing you know, 10 years goes by and 20 years goes by. And the players get younger. We get older.
I've noticed that too. But your staff, I want to mention them because seriously, you work 3 shifts sometimes. They'll go around the clock and have to work all 3 shifts. Imagine that going 7 to 7, a 24-hour shift. But your staff is incredible.
They do an excellent job. Actually, they're the reason that I get to get all the accolades. They are very selfless. We work 7 days a week, 8 months out of the year, and you work Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's Day, every holiday, and it's worth every minute of it. I mean, I've done it for 30 years, and I still don't feel like I've worked a day, and they are the reason why.
Your wife is here tonight. We need to acknowledge her because if you're working 7 days a week. But I want to ask you, because you're the one guy that can put this 7-0 start in perspective better than anybody. What about this team and what you see in the locker room, the young man to your right, and being 7-0?
Well, it feels a lot different. You know, we went 9-0 a few years ago,
yeah.
and it seems like just a few years ago, and it was longer than that. But this group is hungry. They are very humbled. I think with the last few years we went through, they remember that, and people like Justin and DJ and Jamal, they're going to do everything in their powers to keep this thing rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Wright, the Chiefs equipment manager, just worked his 500th game. Way to go, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. We'll let you switch the headsets out. By the way, his son is a heck of a basketball player, their son, and he plays now for the University of Central Methodist in Fayette, Missouri. So he'll be one of the top 3-point shooters in NAI. Just follow him. Now, first of all, I'm so glad he's on our team. He is the guy that has taken over the National Football League by storm. He and number 91, Tamba Hali. Please give a Chiefs Kingdom welcome. Beast alert, Justin Houston. First of all, it's awesome and amazing to have you here, but let's just talk about this football team a little bit. Alan talked about it, Andy talked about it, but you can also give some perspective. How has this team grown to get to 7-0?
I think one thing Coach said when he came in, he said, we're going to come in as teammates and we're going to leave as a family. And I think that's what's going on right now. We playing for each other, the man beside you, the man on the sideline. We playing we like brothers now. It's a good bond. It's almost like a college vibe that's going on. Everybody's getting along. There's no arguing. Everybody's clowning around with each other.
It's outstanding. 100% all in and participating, offense to defense, defense to offense, and special teams. But you guys on defense, I've said, is a special forces unit now. This is like you guys are Navy SEALs. What about what's going on with the energy of this defense, front to back, side to side, subgroup, base? What about the way this defense is specifically built?
We having fun doing it. I remember OTAs when Coach first got here. We had a good day of OTAs practice, and we got in the film room. He said, "This was a great practice, but look at everybody. No one's having fun." So he said, "Let your personality show." And I think that's what we're doing. We just out there flying around, making plays, and having fun.
And we're having fun right along with you, Jay Hewitt. Now, to get 5 more sacks yesterday as a team, that's 35 sacks in 7 weeks. But I want to ask you, because it's also lost that, 35 sacks in 7 weeks. Those plays are huge. But first and goal at the 1. It has happened now twice in 3 weeks. Tennessee gets no points. Houston only gets 3. And it was a critical stage in the game. What is it about this team mentally when you're sitting there 1 yard away on first down and you're not letting people get touchdowns?
We done been through so much. This team, a lot of our teammates was here from last year, and the things we went through just made us stronger. So, and one thing Coach Sutton said, they're not in to the end. So you can be inches from the goal line, you're not getting in until you got to earn it. We're not going to give it to you.
For a defense to have the feeling if they're not in until they're in, that's a feeling that is huge. That is awesome. I'm just saying, right now, Justin Houston, they ain't in until they end, okay? Let's just saying that. Justin Houston with us tonight again on our Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom show. Dave and Buster's at the Speedway. When we come back, we'll break out the hardware and let one of the NFL's leader in sacks show you what's going to happen to the Cleveland Browns. We'll be back after this timeout on the Chiefs Fox Football Radio Network.
sends Dallas Clark, his tight end in motion. He throws that way. It's intercepted in the near flat. The Chiefs pick it up the near sideline. Justin Houston with the pick. And Houston is all the way down to the Buccaneer 44-yard line for Justin Houston, his first career interception.
What? A Justin Houston interception. We're back at Dave & Buster's near the Kansas Speedway in the Legends area. Again, they've got some specials on Sundays, $3.50 22-ounce Bud Light drafts, and also $5 appetizer specials. Great place to come here and watch football. Over 200 fans here tonight. Again, I appreciate everybody coming out this evening. A lot of you have traveled a long way to be here with our special guest again tonight, number 50, Justin Houston. You got another interception in you? That was kind of cool last year.
Hopefully soon.
Maybe this week, huh?
Yeah, I hope so.
Everybody sees the sacks, but I'm going to give him a big credit. And I want to ask you about this because when you play an outside linebacker in the 3-4, this is different than, let's say, the late Derek Thomas, who put his hand on the ground and just came off the edge. You do that a lot, and it's pretty cool when you do that because good things usually happen. But what about all the other stuff you have to do? Because I've seen you grow in this role over the last couple of years.
Well, to put ourselves in that situation, we got to stop the run to rush the pass. So one thing we got to do is the outside linebacker set the edge. So you got to make sure the ball don't get outside of you and then cut back right away.
Justin, it might be the most impressive thing I've seen this defense do. We know about the 35 sacks. But the way you guys have set the edge, people can't get to the outside. But I want to ask you about your teammates inside and the gap control and the assignments. You're aggressive without losing gap control, and that doesn't happen all the time in football. What about your teammates in holding gaps and holding edges?
They do a great job inside. Them three big guys, Poe, Jackson, and DeVito, they do an amazing job up front. They strong, they aggressive, they blow guys off the ball. I know the Tennessee game for like the first 3 or 4 series, didn't nobody have a tackle, but it was just all them 3 guys. They had all the tackles the first 3 series. So when you got those guys up the middle, blowing them, they mans out the ball in the right gap, it's easy to set the edge.
Well, I got to be honest with you. It wasn't even a fair fight when you and Tamba went over to the same side in this game against the Texans. I am glad, let's just put it this way, I'm glad the Texan left tackle had dark pants. What was it like when Bob Sutton goes, let's do this and let's put 91 and 50 on the same side? What were you thinking?
That's something we've been working on since OTAs. We just know when we're in that situation, they really got to pick their poison. And it was me, Tamba, and DJ over there. So we knew they can't block all 3 of us. It was a choice they had to make. So one time I came free, they chose to get me, and the next time they chose to get Tamba. So it's like I said, you got to pick your poison.
So you want to be an NFL quarterback. How about Justin Houston, Tamba Hali, and Derek Johnson coming at you all in the same direction? That's pretty crazy. Now, you know how this works. You've been here before. You're a wily veteran. To get 10 sacks, to have 35 sacks as a team, to hold the edge, be the NFL's best defense, there you go, partner. Because with Justin Houston, you know it is time to put the hammer down, baby. You got it. And there's nobody with a bigger hammer than 50, unless it's 91. Now let's go to our Time Warner Cable Turning Point play of the game. That game was full of drama yesterday. I mentioned the plays that I didn't amplify enough, and that was the 7 third down conversions by the offense. All of those were huge. But all Houston needs is a field goal, and they're going to win the game. Guess not, as we listen to our Time Warner Cable Turning Point play of the game.
Center Chris Myers getting ready to snap it to Case Keenum. Keenum back at his own 5. Under pressure. Holly's got it from behind. The ball's fumbled. Picked up by the Chiefs. Derek Johnson down at the 1-yard line. Derek Johnson recovers, but Tamba Hali just continues to pursue the National Football League quarterbacks with reckless abandon.
It's a full-on assault. Now, I want to ask you about this crowd. We've only got about 215 here tonight. You play in front of over 70,000. What has it meant to you to see that place come alive again? That joint is jumping.
Wow, it's crazy out there. The first time I seen it, I was shocked. I couldn't hear myself think. I we had a yell on the field, like really walk up to the man beside us. We had to work on signals all week to get our communication out, make sure everybody was on the same page. But we love that one. Anytime we get that crowd into it, they can't communicate. They got to call a timeout to talk, to go over their plays. We just love it as a defense.
And then you guys feed the crowd feeds you, and it's on a feeding frenzy. What do you notice in offensive linemen when, first of all, they see you across from them, or Tom, or Derek, or Poe, or everybody else? But then do you see them kind of with a look in their eye of like, I don't know what the snap count is, or what's our protections, or?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. Last week, Oakland, I thought they got away with a couple of false starts, but they had quite a few false starts. They have to look at the ball. There's no talking going on out there. You can't hear nothing. So the whole offensive line is just looking down at the ball. So that helps us getting off rushing and passing. When the tackle can't really look at you, he's focused on the ball. I would hate to be a tackle in that stadium.
I'd hate to be a tackle trying to block you. Again, Justin Houston is our guest tonight. 10 sacks this year, and the Kansas City Chiefs set right at 35 sacks. And they, right now, statistically, the National Football League's best defense in most categories. And just to fill you in on the record before we go to our final break, I've just double-checked the record. The Chiefs are 7-0, but the Brownies are coming to town, and they've got some dangerous pieces. We'll come back and close out the show and ask Justin about the Cleveland Browns when we come back. You're listening to exclusive coverage of Chiefs football.
Throw Gabbert in trouble, sack! The Chiefs sack him at the 13-yard line. Justin Houston came like a missile to the right side of Gabbert.
Right side of Gabbert, left side of Gabbert, and everybody else at quarterbacks in this league. Justin Houston, our guest tonight, representing the NFL's best defense. Again, we're back on our Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom show. We are live at Dave & Buster's near the Kansas Speedway in the Legends area. And again, a special congratulations tonight to Alan Wright. Just had his 500th game as a Kansas City Chiefs equipment manager now for the Chiefs. Also, so many people make this show possible. Brad G is here tonight from the Chiefs PR department. His wife, Megan, where is she at? And his two cute little boys, they both committed to Iowa State. Of course, Megan, the athlete, ran track at Iowa State. Georgia David is here tonight, the former McKinney, Texas Lion from the Chiefs PR department. Drake is here tonight. Drake makes it all happen. I think Sean the Blade Belden is also here tonight. Of course, this is now multimedia with every show is televised now on the Time Warner Sports channel. So the Chiefs Kingdom has grown and is continuing to grow, and appreciate everybody coming out here tonight. Now, Justin Houston is with us. The Cleveland Browns come to town. These guys are interesting. They've got some capable guys. Josh Gordon, a really good receiver on the outside. But now you got Brandon Weeden coming in here. He's like 45 years old. Get this. He's in his second year in the NFL, his second year, and he's older than Alex Smith, who's in his 9th year. And after he plays you, he might be aged another 5 years. I don't know, but he's a pretty good quarterback, though. I mean, they got some pieces on this team, don't they?
Yeah. They got a lot of great talent over there. They can make a big play at any moment.
And I want to ask you about this because they may have the best left offensive tackle in the National Football League. With apologies to Brandon Albert, he's our favorite. But Joe Thomas is over there. The dude's made the Pro Bowl every year he's been in the league. This is his 7th year. And Alex Mack is at center. He's a Pro Bowl center. These are two of the top offensive linemen you'll face all year. What about going up against a guy like a Joe Thomas or an Alex Mack?
I think they're real great guys. They vets. They're smart. They know what to do. But just looking at Thomas, I still think he's the best pass rusher in the game. I haven't seen nobody like him. He's relentless. His hands, his technique. So I know he will get back there a couple times. No doubt in my mind.
But he says the same thing about you.
I guess we feed off each other, man. He taught me the things I know, so I'm just copying him.
Well, let's hope there's enough dog food for all the dogs to eat. Browns. But what about this? And because it's not like there's any jealousy between you guys. I've never sensed that. And the teamwork in that locker. It's not like, hey, I'm 2 sacks ahead of you. You're chasing sacks or anything. Because that's kind of when you get in trouble. It's like a guy trying to hit home runs, right?
Yeah, we don't pay no attention to that. Maybe at the end of the season we'll talk about it, but during the season we just gonna do our job. We want to win. At the end of the day, as long as we get a W, we all happy. That's all that matters.
Well, we're happy because that's 7 W's. And one more time, just for the good of the order, it's time for Justin Houston to put the hammer down, baby. You have got it. Special thanks to Justin Houston, who is now one of the top defensive players in the National Football League as the Chiefs get ready to take on the Cleveland Browns this weekend at Arrowhead Stadium and try to go 8-0. Next week, it is our special homecoming show and Halloween show all in one. We will be at the KU Med Center location of Jazz Louisiana Kitchen. That's at 39th and State Line. Jamal Charles will be our scheduled guest. We'll bring the offense in. That guy is a ninja, isn't he?
Yeah, he's something special. I'm glad I ain't got to chase him.
Well, we're glad you're on our team, Justin Houston. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for everybody. Thanks to Alan Wright for 500 games and giving up his life for the service of the Kansas City Chiefs and to your whole family. For Justin Houston, Alan Wright, Andy Reid, and our entire crew, thanks for joining us tonight on the Midwest Ford Dealers Chiefs Kingdom Show on the Chiefs Fox Football Radio Network.
Kansas City!
You've been listening to Chiefs Kingdom, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit them at yourmidwestforddealers.com. You're listening to exclusive coverage of Chiefs football.